Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Imagine a fish swimming freely and powerfully in the vast ocean, thriving in its own world. But one day, it is pulled onto land, placed before a towering tree, and asked to climb it to prove its worth. Every effort, every attempt it makes, ends in failure. It watches as monkeys swiftly ascend, as squirrels effortlessly leap from branch to branch, and it gradually begins to believe that it is inferior, that it has no value. But is that truly the case? This quote is not merely a metaphor, it is a wake-up call for all of us. Society operates based on certain standards, and sometimes those standards inadvertently stifle true talent. We grow up surrounded by endless comparisons. Who gets better grades? Who runs faster? Who earns more money? But if there is only one single measure of human worth, how many talents will be buried and lost? Think of a child labeled as weak just because they struggle with math, yet they possess extraordinary creativity and art. Think of a man deemed a failure because he couldn't succeed in a conventional job, but in reality, he has an exceptional entrepreneurial vision. When someone is forced to compete in a field that is not their strength, they easily feel inadequate and lose confidence. But if they are placed in the right environment, they can shine brilliantly. History has proven that many geniuses were once underestimated. Those rejected by society for not fitting the norm were often the very ones who changed the world. How many artists, scientists, and inventors were dismissed as failures before they found their true path? If fish were required to climb trees, they would never have the chance to explore the vast ocean. But when placed in the right environment, they swim magnificently, showcasing their true power. What is the key lesson here? It is about understanding yourself, discovering your strengths, and focusing on developing them. Do not let others impose an unsuitable standard on you. Do not let a test, a negative remark, or a comparison make you lose faith in yourself. Every person has unique value, unique talent, and a unique path to follow. Instead of trying to climb a tree that was never meant for you, find your own ocean. Look back at your life. Have you ever felt inadequate simply because you didn't fit into a certain mold? Have you ever doubted your abilities just because those around you judged you by a specific standard? If so, it's time to change your perspective. No one is useless. No one is inferior. There are only those who have yet to find where they truly belong. Stop comparing yourself to others. Instead, explore yourself. Experiment, learn, and discover what truly ignites your passion and happiness. Everyone has their own strengths. Some excel in expressing themselves, while others are great listeners. Some shine in creativity, while others thrive in analysis. If you have yet to find your strength, don't be discouraged. Keep searching, keep trying, because every person is born with a special ability. This world does not only need tree climbers, it also needs swimmers, flyers, creators, and innovators. If you are a fish struggling to climb a tree, stop and find your way to the ocean. Because once you find where you truly belong, you will realize that you are not just good, you are a genius in your own field. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. This quote is not only humorous, but also carries a profound truth about human nature and the world around us. When mentioning the infinity of the universe, we immediately think of its vastness, an endless expanse filled with countless mysteries yet to be discovered. But what is even more striking is the infinity of human stupidity, a force that can exist even in environments that seem the most intelligent and advanced. Stupidity here is not merely a lack of knowledge. It is the refusal to learn, the unwillingness to change, and the stubborn clinging to false beliefs despite clear evidence. A person may not know something, but if they are willing to learn, they will not remain ignorant forever. On the contrary, if someone refuses to open their mind and blindly holds on to misguided beliefs, then their ignorance is truly infinite. Looking back at history, we can see how ignorance has led to countless tragedies. People once believed that the Earth was the center of the universe, despite scientific proof to the contrary. Wars and conflicts have erupted simply because people refuse to accept differing viewpoints. Ignorance makes people underestimate what they do not understand, reject what is new, and confine their own thinking. But ignorance is not just a relic of the past. It is still present everywhere in modern life. It can be seen when someone dismisses an obvious truth simply because it does not align with their beliefs. It appears when a person ignores scientific warnings because they do not want to change their habits. It manifests when someone refuses to listen, unwilling to expand their understanding of the unknown. Ignorance is not frightening because of its nature, but because of the excessive confidence that accompanies it. The less a person knows, the more they believe they know everything. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect, a psychological phenomenon in which those with the least knowledge tend to overestimate their abilities, while those who are truly knowledgeable remain humble, aware of how much they have yet to learn. So how can one break free from the cycle of ignorance? The key lies in continuous learning, never becoming complacent with what one knows, and always being open to the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. The world may be full of unexplained mysteries, but it is the open-mindedness and desire for understanding that drive human progress. No one can know everything, but everyone can choose how they confront their own lack of knowledge. If ignorance is truly infinite, then the only force capable of countering it is the ever-expanding pursuit of knowledge. A person may not be sure about the universe, but if they are willing to seek, learn, and change their perspective, they have at least taken a step out of the trap of infinite ignorance. After all, there is nothing more dangerous than a closed mind, and nothing more powerful than an intellect that relentlessly seeks the truth. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Imagine you are cycling down a long road with challenges and opportunities ahead that you have never encountered before. If you stop, you will lose balance and fall. But if you keep pedaling, no matter how difficult it is, you will move forward. That is the essence of life. Life is not a static journey, but a continuous flow, requiring each person to keep moving forward. Even when you encounter obstacles, even when everything becomes difficult and seems impossible to overcome, you must continue. Because only movement helps you maintain balance, and only perseverance takes you where you want to go. Every person experiences moments of uncertainty, phases where they feel they cannot go on. But it is precisely in these moments that determination and the spirit of never giving up become the deciding factors. If you choose to stop, you will remain trapped in your comfort zone, in fear and self-doubt. But if you choose to move forward, regardless of the speed, you will gradually find your way. Look at the reality of life. Successful people are not those who have never fallen, but those who and still persisted in getting back up. They understand that to maintain balance, they cannot stand still. They must keep moving, keep challenging themselves. The top entrepreneurs, the greatest artists, the most brilliant scientists, they have all faced moments of self-doubt. But instead of giving up, they chose to keep going. And the most important thing is, life does not require you to move fast. It only asks that you keep moving. There will be days when you feel full of energy, ready to take on any challenge. But there will also be days when you feel exhausted and just want to stop. However, what matters is not speed, but endurance. As long as you keep moving forward, you will never lose balance. Sometimes, the road ahead may be unclear. You may not know where you are going or whether your efforts will yield results. But remember, only by continuing to move will you find the answers. Just like when cycling on a winding road, you cannot see the entire path immediately, but each turn of the wheels brings you closer to your destination. Life is always changing, and we cannot control everything that happens around us. But the one thing we can control is how we respond to these changes. If you fall, get up and keep going. If you encounter difficulties, find a way to adapt, because the only thing that guarantees you won't fail is never stopping. Think about this. Are you stopping out of fear of failure? If so, remember that as long as you keep moving forward, you will find a way to maintain balance. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't worry about what might happen. Just take a step, and you will see that you can achieve far more than you ever imagined. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Close your eyes and imagine a world without great inventions, without extraordinary stories, without groundbreaking ideas. What kind of world would that be? It is imagination that has shaped the reality we live in. Knowledge can teach us what already exists, what has been proven, but only imagination can open the door to things that have never existed. This quote is not just a statement, but a powerful philosophy of life. Knowledge is the foundation of understanding, the building blocks that help humanity construct a progressive world. But without imagination, knowledge is merely numbers, dry facts confined within the framework of the present. Knowledge is what we already know. Imagination is what could be. Think about the inventors, the scientists, the artists who have changed the world. They did not rely solely on knowledge, but used their imagination to create things that had never existed before. A scientist may understand physics, but only when their imagination goes beyond limitations can they develop new theories and inventions that change millions of lives. An artist may master every painting technique, but without imagination, their work will never touch the hearts of the audience. The difference between successful people and ordinary ones does not lie solely in the amount of knowledge they possess, but in how they use their imagination to do something different. If people only accepted what is known, the world would remain stagnant. It is imagination that made humans look at the sky and dream of reaching the stars. It is imagination that took us from handwritten letters to video calls in just a few decades. It is imagination that has turned wild dreams into the reality we live in today. But imagination is not reserved for geniuses or influential figures. It exists within all of us. Children are living proof of this. As kids, we could turn a cardboard box into a spaceship, a stick into a legendary sword. As we grow up, our imagination does not disappear. We are simply taught to believe in what is realistic, to follow safe paths rather than dare to think differently and dream big. So how can we nurture our imagination? The answer is simple. Do not be afraid to think differently. Do not confine yourself to rigid rules. Allow yourself to ask questions, dream of great things, and challenge your own limits. When imagination is combined with action, that is when greatness happens. This world was not built by those who merely repeated old knowledge. It was shaped by those who dared to imagine something different and then turned it into reality. If we only have knowledge without imagination, humanity will never move beyond what is already known. But when imagination leads the way, the impossible becomes possible, and the wildest dreams can come true. So, are you letting your imagination soar? Or are you allowing knowledge to limit your own potential? The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Have you ever wondered what truly causes the downfall of the world? It is not bloody wars, political scandals, or endless conflicts. The scariest thing is not evil, it is indifference. When the wicked act, we still have a chance to fight back. But when those who have the power to act choose silence, that is when real disaster begins. Indifference is an invisible enemy, creeping into people's minds, making them believe that if something does not concern them, it is best not to interfere. But in reality, evil cannot thrive on its own without the indifferent gazes of those who let it run rampant. When a crime happens before our eyes, how many people will step up to stop it? How many will act for justice? And how many will simply stand by, thinking it is none of their business? Look back at history. How many tragedies have occurred simply because people chose to remain silent? Dictatorships could not rise without the indifference of millions. Injustices could not persist without the complicity of those who refuse to speak out. When a person is oppressed, when a nation is subjugated, when justice is trampled upon, the blame does not fall only on the perpetrators, but also on those who stood by and did nothing. So why do people remain indifferent to evil? It is fear, personal safety, the thought of, what can I do? But even the smallest action can make a difference. One voice can ignite a movement. One small action can save a life. And one person standing up can inspire millions. No one is asking you to be a hero. No one is forcing you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you can do something simple. Do not stay silent. Speak up when you see injustice. Act when you see wrongdoing. Protect the weak when they need you. The world does not need indifferent bystanders. It needs people who dare to face evil, not for personal gain, but for justice for all. You cannot control what wrongdoers do, but you can decide how you respond to them, and that is how you change the world. Life is not just about the moments we go through, but also about how we impact the world around us. Every day, we face choices, whether to stay silent or speak up, to ignore or to act. And sometimes, it is those small decisions that make the biggest difference. Evil does not exist solely because of those who commit it, but also because of those who witness it and do nothing. We often think that a single individual cannot change the world, but history has proven otherwise. One voice can spark a movement, and even a small action can ignite great change. Great individuals are not necessarily those with power or extraordinary talent, but those who dare to stand up in the face of injustice. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Martin Luther King Jr. affirmed, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." These words are not just philosophy, they are a guiding principle for all of us. The world does not need more indifferent gazes, deaf ears, or numb hearts. The world needs people who know how to love, who stand up for what is right, and who are willing to act when necessary. We cannot control everything that happens, but we can control how we respond to it. Look within yourself and ask, will you choose to be a mere observer, or will you take action? Will you allow wrongdoings to continue, or will you be the one to ignite the flame of change? A better world is not a distant dream. It begins with us, with the smallest choices we make in our daily lives. So, do not remain silent. Do not turn away. Be a part of the change.